Hello and welcome. I'm Raghav, and in this session, we are going to learn Git and Git Bash step by step from scratch. So do not worry if you are a complete beginner and if you are learning Git for the first time. I will start from scratch and we will go up step by step. So let's get started, and first let us see the topics we are going to cover. So we will first start by installing Git and Git Bash, and then we will configure Git for the first time. So when we use Git for the first time, we set our username, email, etc. So we will do that, and then we will create a local Git repository. So whenever we work with a project, we first create a local Git repository, and then we will add some uh, data into our project folder, maybe a file, and then we will do our commit, and then we will also learn that when we make some changes in our project or in our data, how do we track the changes and then how do we commit the changes. Okay, we will see the commit history and file versions. We will learn all the commands. Then we will see how do we create branches and how do we switch branches, and then how do we merge the branches in Git. Okay, then we will create a GitHub repository. So until here, we have been doing everything on our local uh, folder, local project, Git project. But now we are going to create a remote repository on GitHub, and then we will push our local repository to the remote repository. Okay, and then we will also learn at the end that how we can clone a repository from remote, that is from GitHub. Okay, so this is going to be very easy and very interesting. Please do hands-on along with me, and whenever you face any issues, you can let me know. So let's get started, and let us first see how do we install Git and Git Bash. Okay, so for this we will have to go to the Git downloads. So step number one is go to the githcm.com, which is the official page for Git. So let me go to my browser. Now see, here I am on Windows, and the steps are going to remain the same. You just have to first download Git, and then rest of the commands are going to remain the same. So if you just search for Git download, and this will take you to this link, which is git-hcm.com/downloads, and here you can download for your operating system. We have for Mac, Windows and Linux or Unix, and by default here it will show you download for your operating system. So you can click here and you can download from here. So you can download for your operating system, and I'll click here. This will start the download, and yes, if I see in my downloads folder, it has downloaded the installer here. Okay, so once you have downloaded, we can run the installer and install Git on your operating system, so you can use it on Windows, Mac or Linux. So let me just double click the installer, and this should start the installation process. So I will click on next. Now here this will where do you want to store Git, so you can go on this default, or let me go, I want to store it at a different location, so I will say browse, and in my D tools I want to put it here, so I will say next, and I'm keeping all these options by default as it is, and I will click on next, and here again this is fine, next and next. So I'm keeping all the default options as of now. Okay, now here you can see we have option that for adjusting your path environment, how would you like to use Git from the command line? Use Git from Git Bash only, or Git from terminal or command line? So let me just keep it as it is. Anyways, we are going to get Git Bash, so I will say next and next, again all the default options, next and next, and then finally we have got the install option. So I will click on install, and this will start the installation process. All right, so let this install. And if you go on my website automationstepbystep.com, I had created a playlist earlier as well. So this is, you can see Git and GitHub and GitLab. So this was the earlier playlist that I created. So these are single videos. This can also be very helpful, and this was one video I created for Git and GitHub hands-on. So this can be helpful and handy. This is for GitLab. So you can check any of these as well in case you want some more details. But as of now, we are going to do everything in a single session. Okay. So let this installation complete. So we have done step number 1 and 2. And now, okay. So this is done, and you can see we have got option view release notes, launch git bash. As of now, I'll just uncheck this and say finish. Now one way you can check is you can do right click on any folder or anywhere on your system, and if you go, you may find it here, or go to more options, you will find this option Open Git Bash here. Okay, now see, you can run all your git commands on your normal command prompt on your terminal. If you are using Mac, you can run on terminal. So if I go to my Mac, I can just open terminal and I can run all the commands here. And here also on Windows, I can open cmd and I can check. So if I say uh, git hyphen v, you can see I am getting the version for git, or git hyphen hyphen version. Also I'm getting this option, so I can run all the git commands now. And also now with git we get git bash. So if you open, I will open git bash. So this is also a terminal, and here you can run all your git commands. So let us say git hyphen v, all these are working. Okay, and here you can see if I say ls, it is showing me the list of the folders here. And these ls and all these commands work generally on Mac and Linux, but not on Windows. But if you are using git bash, you can run these commands as well. Okay, so see, if I go to my normal Windows command prompt, and if I run this command ls clear, these are not working here. Okay, because these are not Windows command prompt commands, but these will work on git bash. Okay, the git bash terminal. And git bash you get along with git. So once you have installed git, you should also have git bash. All right, so we have done step number 1 and 2. Okay, now we are going to step number 3, where we are going to create a folder and do a right click and open git bash on that folder. Okay, so you can assume this as your project folder, and what we are going to do here in this session is will be exactly how we do it in projects. Okay, the steps, the commands that we run, everything is going to be everything will be same. So once you have understood this session, you have done hands-on, then you should be able to work on any project as well. Okay, so we are going to let me exit from here, and I'll create a new folder maybe on my desktop itself. So I'll just create a new folder and I'll call it as, let's say, git demo. Okay, let me keep it here. Okay, git demo, and inside this folder I'll just create some data. Let me create a new text file or a text document. I'll call it as hello.txt. Okay, you can create any file, any data here. Okay, now I'm going to my folder. So let's assume this is our project folder that we have to work on, and we have to add it on git, and then ultimately we have to add it on a remote cloud repository. So I will do a right click here on the project folder. Okay, and I will say Open Git Bash here. Okay. Now, just in case you want to continue and run all the commands that we are going to see now on a normal command prompt on Windows, or maybe on a terminal on Mac or Linux, that is also fine. But as of now, we are going to use Git Bash. So I will say Open Git Bash here, and you will see that it opens Git Bash on that project folder. Okay. So we have done this. So here, until here, we have installed Git and Git Bash. Okay. Now next we are going to configure Git for the first time. Okay. So let's do it. So when we say configure Git for the first time, it is like telling Git that who you are and what is your username and the email, and it will be used throughout your Git sessions. Okay. So it will be, this info will be used in all your Git commits. So in Git Bash, you can give your username by saying git config -- global user.name and whatever your name you want to keep, which will go in your Git commits, and then your user email. Okay. So the command is git config. I will say git config and then -- global, then user.name, and give whatever name you want to keep. Now generally, in case you already have a GitHub account, you can keep the username of your GitHub account and the email of your GitHub account here, but do not worry, this is what we are going to do later on. Creating a GitHub account we will do later on. So as of now, you can give any of your username and your email ID here. So this I will do, and just hit enter, and this will take it. And similarly, you can say git config -- global user dot email, and I can give any email ID. I will say okay. Now if you want to check what are your details added, you can also run a command. So let us first complete this. So global means it applies to all your Git projects. So all the Git projects that you will do on this system will take your username this and your email as this, and will use this information in your commit history. Okay. Now just to verify, you can say git config global list. So I will say git config -- global list and hit enter, and you can see your user email and username is here. Okay. Also, just in case you want to change the font and details here on Git Bash, you can do a right click here and you will see options. So go to options, and this will open this window, and here you can see the details. So you can go to text and you can select the text font and size, all that you can select here, even the window size, etc., all that you can select here. Okay. All right. So we have done this and we have configured Git for our use. Okay. So we have done this step. Now let us go to the third topic, which is we will create a local Git repository. Okay. So here we are going to create a local Git repository, or in other words, we are going to create a project folder. Okay. And then turn it into a Git repository. So I have already created a folder here, and I have already opened my Git Bash here. Okay. So these things that we had done earlier, this you can do from anywhere, from even you can go to your desktop and just say Open Git Bash here, or from any folder. These things that we have done until now, that is setting up the username and the email, that you can do from any location on GitHub, on Git Bash. But now we have to run all the commands that we are going to do now on a specific project folder. Okay, so let me exit from here and I will show you again. So I have created this folder and now I am going to open Git Bash here. So I will do a right click and say open Git Bash here. All right, and this thing you can do from the terminal itself or from Git Bash itself. So you can say mkdir, that means make directory or make a folder, and you can give the folder name, and then cd means change directory to that folder. Okay, so this will be same as what we have done now. We have created a folder separately physically and then opened Git Bash there. So I am here on my project folder on Git Bash. All right. Now the very first command we will run is git init, and this is the command that will turn this folder or a project folder into a local Git repository, or it will initialize Git on this folder. So let us see what happens. I will also open my project folder here. Okay, let me keep it here, and this is my Git Bash, and I am running the command git init, and I will say enter, and you will see here what happens is it says initialized empty Git repository, and here if you see physically on the folder, you will see there is a hidden folder .git created. In case you don't see this folder, you can go to view and say show hidden items. You can check this hidden items because this is a hidden folder, and you can see this is here. Okay, so this means this folder is now being tracked by Git. All right, so this was to make a new folder that we have done separately physically, and then we open the Git Bash on that folder, and then git init initialize an empty Git repository. Okay, and now we will run the command git status. So I will say git status, and you will see the all the details here. Okay, so it says we are on the master branch. Okay, by default it starts on the master branch. Okay, there are no commits yet, and if there are anything in your folder which is not yet being added or committed to Git will be shown here. You can see here it is showing that there is this untracked file hello.txt. Okay, so it is saying nothing added to commit but untracked. So whenever we stage some data that will be ready for commit, but we have not yet staged any data, and we stage the data by saying git add, and we have not yet run this command git add, therefore it is saying there is nothing there to be committed, but there are untracked files present. Okay, so that is fine until now. So we have created a project folder and we have turned it into a local Git repository for now. Okay, so we have done this. Now the next topic, we will now create a file and make our first commit. Okay, so basically we are going to add some content in our project folder and then we are going to commit it. So we are going to create a file. So you can either create a file like this on the from git bash or from your command prompt or terminal. You can say echo hello git and push this into a file called hello.txt. So this text hello git will go into this file hello.txt, which we have already done separately. So you can see this is my hello.txt file, and I will just write something here. I will say hello git and save and close, or you can even keep it open but just save your file. Okay, now if I run git status, you can see it shows that this file is untracked. Okay, and we will now stage the file or add it for committing by running the command git add and the file name. Now here I can say git add and say dot. Dot means it will stage everything which is not yet staged. So in case I have multiple files here or multiple data here, I can just say git add dot, or if I have to stage a specific file, I will give the file name. I can also just say the first few letters of the file name and press tab on my keyboard and it will auto complete and hit enter. Now if I say git status, you can now see we have changes to be committed because now these are staged and the staged changes are ready to be committed. Okay. Now we will commit these staged changes or the changes that we have already added for committing. We will commit them by saying git commit. So we say the command is git commit and then we say -m. -m is to give the commit message, and you can give any message within double quotes. You can say my first commit. Now generally there should be some meaningful message so that when anybody sees what was committed here at this commit, what was committed, they will know what exactly was committed. So you can say added hello.txt. Okay, or I can just say here I will add here first commit, and here I am adding hello.txt. Okay, and then just hit enter. So you can see this is now committed. If I say git status now, you will see there's nothing to be commit, everything is clean. Okay, so we have done this, and git add stages the file. That means it prepares it for committing, and then git commit saves it to the git history with whatever message you have given in the git commit command. Okay, now if I run the command git log, I will say git log, and here you can see all the details that here my username and my email ID, this is the date, and this is the commit I did. So it will show you all the commits. As of now we have a single commit, therefore I am seeing this single commit here. All right, so with this we have done our very first commit on our Git repository or our local Git project. Okay, now let us go to topic 5, which is modify the file and track the changes. And this is what will happen in real projects. We will be working on our project, we will be making changes. So how do we track the changes and how do we add and commit these changes? Okay, so this is like our real world work. I will open the file and then make some changes. Okay, so let me open this file. You can open it in any text editor or any editor, and I will say this is the first line. I will save and close. Okay, now on git bash, let us say I will say git status, and here it will show me that this file is modified and we have not yet staged the changes or not yet added the changes for committing. Okay, so I will then also run this command git diff. So I will say git diff, and here it will show me the differences. So you can see here this is what is the change. Okay, so all these changes will show me the differences. Then again I will stage and commit, and the commands for staging and commit remains the same. I will stage first by saying git add, and I can say git add dot to stage all the changes, or if I want to do it for a specific file, I will give the file name git add hello.txt, and if I say git status now, you can see it is now ready to be committed, and then I will say git commit, and I will give some commit message. I will say updated hello.txt and hit enter. And if I say git status now you can also just press the up arrow on your keyboard to go to the earlier commands. So I will do it few times and go to git status and hit enter, and everything is committed now. Okay, so this is done. So we have made our second commit, and we have also committed all the changes we have done. Okay, so this is how we modify our files and then track the changes. Okay, now if I say git log, you will see here these are two commits. This was the very first commit. First commit is here, and then this is the second commit here. Okay, so we have done this topic. Let us now see how do we view commit history and file versions. Okay, so one of the major advantages of using Git is it will store our entire history of our project. And how do we see it? Let us see. So I can say git log. We have already seen this. So I can say here git log, and I see all my commit history and everything. Or I can also run the command git log one line. So I will say git, or let me clear this. Now before I show you that command, I also want to show you that if you want to check all the options you can use with any command, you can say, I can say, let's say I want to check what all options I can use with the git command. I can say git -h, that is for help, and you will see all the options. So with git I can say pull, push, commit, add, all this status, log, all I can do this. Or I can also say git -help. So okay, so you can see all this I will get here. Then if I say git log and I want to check all the options, I can say git log -h. Okay, so I will see all these commands. Or I can say git log -help and hit enter, and you can see it opens the browser with this documentation. And if I say one line, I can search for this. You can see here I can see the details of this option. Okay, so this can be very handy whenever you want to check all the options you can use with any command. You can use this help option. Okay, so I will say git log one line and hit enter, and now you can see it shows us all this in a single lines. Okay, all our commit. So this was our first commit, then our second commit is here. Okay, so this shows each commit in one line for a handy summary, because after some commits you will have a huge list of commits. So if instead of seeing all the details per commit, you can run this command git log one line. Okay, now to see a previous version of the file, I can say git show head and use this symbol and say one and the file name. So I will say git show head, and I will say this is the twiddle key. It is on the top left of your keyboard just before the escape key, and I will say one colon and the file name, which is hello.txt. You can also press tab, and you can see it shows me this was the very first commit. Okay, so this means one commit before the current one. So as of now the current commit is the second commit, and just before this was the first commit that we did, and there we had this in our file. okay, hello git, and that is what it is shown here. Okay, this is what was our first commit, or the commit just before the current commit. Okay, so you can do like this as well. Okay, so this shows how the file looked in that particular commit. Okay, then if you want to see what changed between the commits, I can say git diff head twiddle1 head. So if I say git diff head and twiddle1 head, so you can see exactly what changed, what was the difference, and it will show you all the changes or differences here. Okay, now see, this can be handy when we work with projects and codes. If you want to check what changed, what was the difference between first and the next commit, or current commit and the previous commit, all that we can use these commands. Okay, so this is good to know. Okay, so this is how we verify our commit history. We see our commit history and file versions. Okay, now this is done. Let us see how do we create and switch branches. This is going to be interesting. So when we work on our projects, we work in branches, and this is very important and useful because we may be working on multiple features, different features on our project. So it is always handy that whenever we have to work on a new feature, we create a new branch so that all the changes that we do for that particular feature, for that particular version of our project, it is there on a separate branch, and we do not do anything on our main branch. Okay, so it is still intact. If anything changes, we can always revert back to our main branch. So see, we create a branch by saying git branch and whatever name we want to give to the branch. So let us say if I just run the command git branch, you can see as of now we have a single branch master. Let me clear this, and I will say git, or I will press the up arrow, git branch. Okay, now to create a new branch, I will say git branch, and I will give the branch name. So let's say I want to make a branch feature 1. Now in real world, let us say we have started a new sprint, or we want to add some new feature to our project. So the first thing we will do is we will create a new branch by like this, git branch and the branch name, and I will say enter. And now if I say git branch, you can see now we have two branches, and it will highlight the branch that we are on. So as of now we are on master, but we have two branches, master and feature 1. Okay, now to switch to a branch, we say git checkout and the branch name. So I will say git checkout feature 1. Okay, and now you can see it shows here as well. We were earlier on master branch, and now we are on feature 1. Otherwise we can run the command git branch, and now you can see it is showing that we are on the feature 1 branch. All right, now let us make some changes in our file. So see, in if we talk in uh, general language, this is now, whatever changes we will do is now on the feature branch, and it will not be there on the main or the master branch or any other branch. So let us say I will add something here. I will say this is from feature 1, and I'll just save and close. Okay, and if I say git status, you will see we have modified our file. So I will first change, I will say git add hello.txt, and then I will say git commit -m. I will say updated hello.txt in feature 1. Okay, and if I say git status now, this is done. And if I say git log, you can see this is also added in the logs here. Okay, so now we have made some changes. We have first checked out, created a branch, checked out that branch, and now we have made some changes in our file, and we have added and committed our changes. And now this is done. So we have done all these changes in feature 1 branch, and this change will not be there in our master branch. Let us see now. We have done topic 7. Now let us see how do we merge branches. Okay, so I will again check out our main or master branch. So I will say git branch, and now I will say git checkout master. So now I am on the master branch, and you will now see if I go and check my hello.txt, you can see the changes we did in the feature branch is not here. Okay, so now I will say let me just open it and keep it here. I will now say git merge feature 1. So from the branch from where we want to merge, we will say git merge feature 1 and hit enter. Okay, so we have done this, and now if I again open the file, so you can see now we are still on the master branch, and if I open the file, now you can see we have got the changes from feature 1 branch into the master branch. Okay, so this is how we can merge the branches. And now if needed to delete the branch, we can say git branch -d and the branch name. So you can say, if I say git branch -d, this is for delete, and I will give the branch name feature 1, hit enter, and it will now delete the branch. If I say git branch, you can see we now have only a single branch. Okay, so this happens in real world. Whenever we have to make some changes, add a new feature, we always create a new branch, do changes there, and then run our project, check everything is fine, and if everything is okay, then we merge the changes in our main branch. And then if we do not need the branch that we created, we can delete it as well. Okay, so we have now completed a full branching and merging cycle. Okay, now there was a video, I think, which I created earlier. Yes, this is the one, branching and merging. Here I have explained in a little more detail how branching and merging happens. So just in case you want to check this one, you can check this one as well. Okay, this you can check from my page here. From here you can go Git and GitHub. Okay, now this is done. We have done creating branches, switching branches, doing changes in our project on a specific branch, and then merging branches. Now let us go and create a GitHub repository, and then we will push our local code, our local repository, to our remote cloud repository. Okay, so here we will go to github.com. Now you can also go to any other cloud repository as well, but GitHub is what is mostly used. Let us try with GitHub. So create an account on GitHub. So you can, when you go to github.com, if you already have an account, you can sign in. If you don't have an account, you can sign up. So you will give your email, password, username, etc., and then wherever you are from, and then you can create account from here. So once you have created the account, you can then log into your account. So in my case, I have, let me see, I will open my GitHub. and check, and yes, I am here. This is my GitHub. Okay, so we will now create a new repository. Once you have logged into GitHub, you can click on here, new, and create a repository. You can also go from here, new repository, or click on here, new repository. I will say this is git demo. You can give any name to the repository, and description is optional. You can keep it public or private. As of now, let's keep it public. Okay, and then I will say create repository. Okay, so we have got our repository created. Now we will push our local repository to our GitHub repository. Okay, so you can see when you create the repository on this page, you will see some commands. So to push an existing repository from command line. So in case you want to create a new repository and then push it, we have, it is showing us all the commands which we have already done. Okay, git init, git add, git commit, git branch. This we have already done. This is what we now need. We have to add our repository by saying git remote add origin and our repository URL, and then we will say we will create a main branch or switch to the main branch and then push to the main branch. Okay, so you can see if I see these commands, this shows me my exact repository URL. So I can just copy from here, or otherwise you can copy the repository URL from here, or you can use this as well. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. I'm just copying this command and I will paste here on my git bash. So here I'm saying this is my remote repository. I will say hit enter, and then I will say git branch, and I will say main. So you can see now I am on the main branch. Okay, okay, and by doing this we are actually renaming our master branch to main. Okay, so this is renaming our branch from master to main, and the reason we are doing this is in GitHub the default branch that we will get is main, so it's better that we just keep it main here. Okay, and then finally we will say git push -u origin main. Okay, now at this, on this command, it may ask you to log in. So if you are not already logged in on the same system on your browser to GitHub, you may have to log in again. So you can do the login in case it asks you. So I'll just paste for now. And because I'm already logged in on the same system on the browser to GitHub, I believe it will not ask me. I will hit enter. And yes, you can see it has now pushed all the changes. If you get a prompt to first login, you can log into your GitHub, maybe using a browser, or if you have any other option, you can use that. And then it has now pushed our all our changes or our local repository to this remote repository. And now if I refresh my GitHub repository, you can see I have got it here. This is our file. Okay, and all the changes have come here, and I can see the branch here. If you add more branches, you will see them here. Okay, so let's say if I say git branch feature 1, and I will say git checkout feature 1, or I'll, I'll have to say git checkout. And now if I make some changes to our file or anything in our project. I will save and I will say git add dot git commit -m added new changes to hello.txt, and then I say if I have to push, I will say git push -u origin main, and I will have to, let me first merge. I will say git checkout main and then git merge feature 1, and you can see it is here. And if I say now git push -u origin main, it will push everything. And if I check, you can see here we have got our changes. Okay, we have got it here. You can also see history here. Okay, it will show you all the history, and you can go and see all the details here. Here you can see the code, so you can, if you want to clone, you can use this link to clone this repository. Okay, and you can see all this issues, pull request, action. So this is GitHub actions, projects, wiki, security, inside, settings. All this you can see here. Okay, for this particular repository. So we have done this. Okay, when we say remote add origin, it connects our local repository to our GitHub, and then we push by using push -u origin main. It will upload our code to the main branch on GitHub. Okay, so our code is now there on our GitHub repository. And now the rest of the steps remains same. Whenever I make any change here in my project folder, whatever I do, I will go to git bash or my command prompt or terminal. I will say git status and then see what needs to be added or committed. Then I will stage and commit and then push it to the remote repository. All right. So we have done this. Now finally we can also clone our repository from GitHub. So now we have pushed all our changes, all our project to GitHub. So we can now, if we want to clone it or anybody wants to clone our repository, we can clone. We just have to go to this code section here and get this URL of our repository. So I'll just copy it from here, and then we will say, so we can get it, get our project now on any computer, any system. We just have to say git clone and our repository URL. So let us say if I have to get it on this system itself but on a different folder, let me say I'll create a folder here, or I'll go to a completely different location. I'll go to my D drive and I'm going to open Git Bash here. Okay, and I will say git clone and the repository URL. Okay, and I will hit enter. You will see it has come here, our project has come here, and this is our everything. You can check here, we have cloned our repository from GitHub. Okay, so this downloads the complete repository, and it will also keep all the history, commit history and branches details. Okay, so we have already checked our project folder, the cloned folder. So this is how we can also clone our repository from GitHub. Okay, so we have done this as well, and with this we have completed this hands-on. So at any point. If you face any issues, you can let me know in the comment section, and I will see you soon. I hope this was very useful and very interesting. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.